it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you. Donald.
Hey, yo. Welcome to another edition of Hey Yo with D. Shelton. I am the host of this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, Del Rico Shelton. That was former Madam Vice President Kamala Harris during the presidential debate with Doodoo Don, Agent Orange, Donald Trump. Remember that? Just remember that. Now, as always, we are presented by Rose Sweets LLC. That's Rose Sweets LLC. The best cupcakes and cake pops in the DMV area, small base business out of Southern Maryland, who, by the way, are female and black owned. Thank you once again for Riverside.fm for giving me the platform to get to the masses, showing this face and this voice via Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. I want y'all to just pause and think about what I just said. Normally, I would give my normal spiel, my opening monologue, blah, blah, blah. Hey, yo, all the good stuff. I don't think today, as I'm recording this, is a time to do the normal spiel. I really don't. This podcast really was supposed to be the first sports podcast of the new UFL season. Shout out DC Defenders for beating the defending champs, Birmingham Stallions, on Sunday. For my sports people, it's coming. And I might split this up. One part, I'm thinking I'm going to have to do one with sports and one with politics. By the way, just in case, TikTok may be going away on April 5th. Hey Yo with D. Shelton will still be up and running. Website, Hey Yo with D. Shelton, www.heyyodShelton.com, just how it sounds. But I'm compelled to just speak on facts today. I'm compelled to speak on bullshit today. I'm compelled to say what a lot of progressives, liberals, and just people with fucking common sense want to say to those that voted for Doodoo Don, Agent Orange, Donald Trump. What the hell was y'all thinking? I know you weren't thinking. I know you let your racism and misogyny, sexism all come into play. I know that as I'm speaking this here again, it's on April Fool's Day. April 1st. America is being played as a fool right now by oligarchs, billionaires, and Doodoo Don. We had the President of the United States pretty much do a used car salesman commercial on the White House lawn to help out billionaire boy. Since the Tesla stock has dropped in half as I'm recording this, and he's on Fox News bitching. I would say maybe about a month ago, he was saying that, the problem with this country is empathy, but then he wants empathy. Make it make sense. As my cat Strass is jumping everywhere. Make it make sense. He called Tim Walsh a jerk. I'm speaking of billionaire boy Elon Musk. But he has the nerve to call Tim Walsh a jerk when him and his Doge has contributed to the unemployment rate going up in the United States by firing federal workers, by getting rid of US aid, amongst other things. America's in a free for all. It's in a tailspin, I should say, and it's going downhill fast. All because you didn't vote for the black lady who had a plan. And for those that are listening to me, and I'm calling you out MAGA, or should I say maggots, because I'm not going to be polite as you all want people to be. When people say you are uneducated and y'all don't think critically, this is what we mean. You do realize when Democrats vote, they vote, honestly speaking, for the best candidate at that time. They do. You don't want to admit it, but they do. Or, and I'm going to get on people that vote Democrat, you need to get your ass out and vote. You really do. Stop sitting at home. Stop letting other causes mess with your right to vote. I'm speaking of the United States pro-Palestinian movement that fuck this too. Because the people of Gaza told you they wanted Kamala Harris. You didn't listen to them because your ego and you want to be upfront with something. Because of Joe Biden. She didn't separate herself from Joe Biden. How the hell could she? She's the vice president of the United States, you dumb mother uckers. And the policies that she was saying, dare I say, were progressive. So that opening monologue that I just did, the recording of the debate, do you wish you had her now? Honestly. Hi, in Nebraska, do you wish you had her now? Alabama, do you wish you had her now? All you what I call backwoods states, do you wish you had her now? The federal workers that voted for this fool, do you wish you had voted for her now? See, the thing about this country I realized is that there's so much short-term memory. The economy was better. No, it wasn't. He rode President Barack Obama's economy for 2 years. After that 2 years, what happened? Unemployment actually started going up, if you want to really be technical. COVID happened. How did that work when over 1 million Americans died from COVID? The most in the world, mind you. Mind you, he had the care. Universal care. Because our tax dollars paid for his ass to survive when he caught it. But no. Let me be frank. Everything just seemed to be much better. No. You could say everything was cheaper. And this is where common sense and critical thinking comes into play. And I'm speaking to my black people too on this one. Things were cheaper because in COVID, we couldn't go anywhere. Do you not think that corporations are going to make that money up somehow? Gas was down because no one was actually going out. No one. Food. Because no one was to be able to go out. Now I know Instacart, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, etc., etc. They were your life back then because we couldn't go anywhere. Then President Joe Biden comes in, fixes majority of the bullshit, but it's not fast enough, and you all still think everything's still so expensive. Once again, we came out of a pandemic. Do you not think, just a small margin of imagination, that once again corporations not going to get their money back? Now eggs in some places can go anything from $5 to 12 for a dozen. Oh, it is going to get worse because as of today, the Atlanta FED, for those that don't know, they pretty much predict recessions, depressions. They tell us that the GDP is going up, down, left, right, upside down, right side up. You get where I'm going. As of today, and once again, for you dumb ass people, tariffs are a tax. The Atlanta FED GDP growth predictor says Q1 rate was negative 2.8%. That was according to Forbes. Today, the article, Forbes.com, by Eric Sherman. I'm just going to read one paragraph of it. Well, two paragraphs. Unless you've got a large financial cushion and a bet against the economy, you likely have no reason to rejoice in the idea that the gross domestic product growth is slowing. Next paragraph, titled Crashing Economy. The disturbing news is that it could be slowing, far faster than the overall Federal Reserve expected, potentially into the realm of contraction that could set the stage for a recession. The Atlanta Fed GDP growth predictor estimate on March 28th that the first quarter will see a negative 2.8% growth. So far for the economy being better, huh? As you all tried to move the goalposts, and Donald Trump and his minions are saying we're gonna have to suffer for a little bit. Why? So you want to suffer worse under Doodoo Don than have a steady growth with Joe Biden, former President Joe Biden, and or more growth from the black lady, former Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh, there's more. There's more. This is from 11alive.com, which handles a lot of money when it comes to their news site in Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. because mainstream media is not going to cover it the way they want to. The Atlanta Fed's GDP Now model updated on Tuesday. A model utilized by the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, that's what the Fed is, updated Tuesday with its starkest outlet. I can't talk. Starkest outlook for GDP contraction yet in the first quarter this year. The Atlanta FED GDP Now model is now forecasting a negative 3.7% growth rate in Q1, quarter one, 2025. That is substantially more than the previous estimates going back to January. An alternative model forecast, which adjusts for exports of gold, is just negative 1.4%. So technically, gold is kind of standing. It's not worse, but even gold is going down. The article, once again, was April 1st today. You can go to 11alive.com to see it. The author, Jonathan Raymond. You see where I'm getting at? America is a joke right now. J.D. Vance pretty much was shunned out of Greenland. Doodoo Don and won't let Greenland go. They don't want America. Why would any country want America when America can't even provide health care for its citizens? Which I believe Denmark actually has a universal health care system. Why would I want to fuck up my way of life for American way of life? Does that make sense to you? The people of Greenland are happy. The people of Denmark are happy. So why the fuck would you keep fucking with them? I can tell you why. Minerals and also the air defense system in Greenland. That's why. Donald Trump is now realizing you can't bully the other countries. The other countries are pretty much starting to come together. Hell, there's a trade agreement that might happen with China, Japan, and South Korea. If anybody knows the history of these three countries with each other, they basically can't stand each other. And they're thinking about doing a trade agreement and working on it as we speak. By the way, we get a lot of our products from all three of those countries because Donald Trump wants to do the word tariff all through the world. See, here's something that I don't think people are understanding because this is critical thinking. I thought about this and someone said this earlier also on, I can't remember where, to be perfectly honest. I can't. But I thought about this a while ago because, once again, I know about tariffs. This tax cut that's going to give billions of dollars to corporations and his oligarch buddies, including himself. The tariffs are going to pay for a good portion of it. See, because tariffs is a tax. Let me specify again. If you get a TV that was $200, when Donald Trump's tariffs comes into play, that TV, because the corporation that imports the TV to the United States is going to pay for that, whether it be via air or sea. They have to pay that, let's say, 25% tariff. Okay? Which is roughly $50. So your TV is not $200 anymore. It's $200 and let's say 75 because they got to make a profit off it. The $50 that should be $250, doing basic math for you. But remember, they have to make a profit. So you're going to pay that tariff, which is that extra $50, and then corporation, of course, is going to make a profit. Boom. So you're paying $275 for a TV that really you should be paying $200 to $210. That's what happens with tariffs. America does more importing than exporting. Canada pretty much said, fuck the United States at this point. Mexico is about to say, fuck the United States because they're working with something with China right now that they're going to possibly do their own canal straight through Mexico. You know what that makes the Panama Canal? Obsolete, because estimated it'll be 5 days faster than going through the Panama Canal. Yeah. You don't believe me? Go ahead and look this shit up. But this is what happens when you let dumbass, stupid ass emotion and, once again, racism, misogyny, and sexism come into play. DEI, we have P headset pretty much in a fucking app, Signal to be exact, giving classified war plans in a fucking group text, excuse me. But you holler about DEI. I said this on TikTok. Me personally, it's just mediocre white men or white people doing mediocre white man and white people things. Remember, he's a Fox News host and he was on the weekend, so he was with the B team. Damn. How's the Department of Education for you in them backward ass states? See, states like California, Illinois, the whole Northeast, Maryland, their education system will be fine. But you all take more federal money. So if you're in a rural area and your kid needs to get to school, guess what? It ain't going to happen. Not like that. Or if they do get to school, the books and all the schools and nothing going to be so run down that they're barely going to learn anything. Easier to control you if you don't know how to read, which majority of you barely can read past a 6th grade level anyway. Hey, Florida, your Congress and Ron DeSantis, aka the Satan, is working on a bill right now that's going to allow children by the age of 14, after the age of 14, to work overnight if need be. Why? Because Ron DeSantis and that crew decided that wokeness and we're going to get rid of all these undocumented and illegal immigrants, and the people that are undocumented and legal split, and they don't have the mass capacity to fill out the construction jobs, agriculture, grunt work. So they're bringing ideas to get children to do it. But you conservatives and MAGA, aka maggots, y'all bitch about all the time these so-called slave shops overseas. Well, your kid is probably going to be in the warehouse overnight. And it doesn't matter if it's a school night. Wow. Blacks for Trump. How do y'all feel that slowly but surely the historical nature of black people that are fought for this country is slowly slipping away when it comes to the military? For almost a day, they took away Jackie Robinson's military service. They have taken away, links to women, Latino, and black people from Arlington Cemetery. He wants the Smithsonian, I'm speaking of Dududan, to quote unquote cut out DEI exhibits and all sorts of shit. It's history, bitch. Hell, he's even bitching about the African American Museum. You see, when you roll in shit, you stink like shit. For those dumbasses that said America's a business, so you want a 34 count felon who has filed bankruptcy 6 times to run the country like a business. First off, if he went bankrupt 6 times, I don't want him even touching nothing business wise. So that tells me how stupid y'all are. Now, on some positive stuff, as I'm recording this, and I've had my problems with corporate Democrats, and I've had my problems with one, Mr. Cory Booker. But as I am recording this right now, it's over 18 hours that he's been on the Senate floor doing a protest. It's technically not a filibuster, but he's holding up the Senate in whatever they're supposed to do for the basically 2 days, because he's constantly speaking, and he's speaking on what I described, amongst other things, that this administration has done. So for once, I'm going to applaud Cory Booker. For those that said the Democrats ain't doing nothing, you could have voted for the Democrat November 5th. You could have voted for the Democrats also on November 5th that would have kept the House, and at least the House Democrat, and the Senate at least even. So none of this will happen. So the Democrats are in the minority. What do you expect them to do, per se? We want them to fight. Well, AOC fighting, Jasmine Crockett fighting. Oh, by the way, in this great state of Texas, they've been calling Governor Greg Abbott Hot Wheels since he rolled into that state capital. So for those that is that's insensitive, but it wasn't insensitive when Doodoo Don made fun of a disabled reporter. You can kiss my entire ass on that one. I want to say Ayanna Pressley also fighting. Bernie Sanders fighting. So we can add Cory Booker in this because it's different. I don't think the man has eaten. I know a lot of his colleagues are helping him out by asking questions, to prolong it so he can answer the questions, giving them water, things like that. I don't think this man has ate. I don't think this man has used the bathroom. So I'm going to applaud you for once, Cory. I'm going to applaud you. As you also know, Legacy Media is not covering any of these protests, really. I saw something today that I want to say in Switzerland. People are pretty much, and technically is vandalism. They're spraying orange paint on Tesla dealerships. Get it orange as symbolic with doo-doo Don. By the way, have you noticed that his hair is completely white now? I mean, that's a sign of cognitive decline if it goes that quickly. To my knowledge, I'm allegedly. Have you, even with the speech he did in the joint, Congress, did y'all understand any fucking thing he said, really? See, every time, ever since January 20th, particularly January 21st, it's been fucking basically 11 weeks. And the world has pretty much turned its back on the United States of America, except for Russia. Because a lot of talking points that he's doing and his administrators have done, they're Russian talking points. These tariffs and all those other bullshit, well, going back to a time that was in the early 1900s where America had a whole lot of money. No, they didn't. Rich people, powerful white men to be exact, had the money. You know what happened about 20 years later? The Great Depression happened. The Gilded Age. 20 years later, the Great Depression happened. See, if you don't know your history, you're doing to repeat it. And to me personally, these backward ass states, you racist people, and you just illiterate, uneducated motherfuckers keep repeating the same shit. Rinse, wipe, repeat. Your schools is some shit. Me personally, I think you maggots and conservatives are actually jealous of liberals. That's just me. They think they're better. No, you don't even realize liberals fight for you. But you want people to live your backward ass way. Why would anyone wants to live the way you all live? California has the fifth biggest economy in the world. If California wanted to, it could buy the whole fucking South. Y'all realize that? For my black people in the South, go to the polls and vote, because the biggest population of black people are generally in the South. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. I'll leave Georgia alone because the reason why Georgia even remotely has money is because of Atlanta. Vote, because you all have a power that could change the fortune of your states. I know there's gerrymandering. I know they're suppressing your vote with bullshit. Just like they want to pass these bills that's going to make it harder for a woman to vote. Because if she takes on her husband's last name, they want you to have the birth certificate. And if your last name is different than what's on your birth certificate, they're gonna say you're not that person. Handmaiden tell shit. They want you to have more babies. More babies equal more illiterate workers as far as they're concerned. See, yeah, I think critically. And you wonder why women don't want to have kids? Why would any millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, or anybody else want to have kids in this United States? Man, please. Y'all tripping. You all are tripping. But that's what you want. That's what billionaires like Donald Trump wants. He said he loves the poorly educated. He loves the uneducated. Why would he say that loud and proud? Because he knows y'all are going to fall for it. You all are a cult. And people that finally break away from the cult sees the whole shit. See, I don't understand for the life of me. If your life technically was fucked up from COVID, why would you vote for this man? You saw on January 6th, 2021, or what the fuck happened when he led a mob of people to overthrow the government, excuse me. They were trying to quote unquote hang Mike Pence. If his former vice president don't fuck with him, because during Jimmy Carter's, unfortunately, his funeral, did you notice, if everybody paid attention, Mike Pence's wife did not stand up and shake Donald Trump's hand at all. She don't fuck with him. See, the one thing I realized is that mediocre white men, one, can't stand up to strong women, or just strong men in period, without having a group. See, the Republican Party is a bunch of cowards. Barely anyone stands up for fear of retaliation from Doodle Don, Agent Orange, Donald Trump. When they kind of sort of will realize that, you know what, we have more power than he do. We control the purse. We do the laws. The president cannot make a law, ladies and gentlemen. He can do as many executive orders as he wants. It's not a law. He can do executive orders to push some things along. But if Congress says, it won't happen. If the courts, which is basically the reason why we even have somewhat of a standing fighting chance, both Republican appointed judges and liberal federal judges are pretty much slapping him left and right. No. We got, speaking of slap, we got ICE agents rounding up people because they got tattoos and sending them to El Salvador without due process. Everybody that comes in this country that does something wrong has the right to due process. Everybody. You could be on vacation in this country. You are subject to due process. Nah, this administration do what they want, which is scary. I'm just saying, we are in some, dire straits because of the decisions of a lot of people that were uneducated and others that were self-righteous. But you really won't self-righteous because the people, I'm speaking of the people of Gaza, the Palestinian people wanted the black lady because at least they knew they had a chance. All of this coming full circle for the realization that this country is falling. And because of just for shits and giggles, to distract you, I want a third term. Constitutionally, it's not going to happen. It has to be a constitutional amendment, and that's not going to work. So it's either one or two things. Either he's doing that, saying that so he can get the heat off his dumbass administration, especially with Signalgate, or he has other plans. And he has the minions in the Republican Party to do it. This is why the special election as of today for Florida, I want to say New York State, and the Wisconsin Supreme Court today are very important. By the way, Elon Musk is trying to buy that Supreme Court, the Wisconsin Supreme Court seat, which technically is illegal because he's saying he's going to give people $1 million to pretty much vote that way. So if you want to do it, go ahead. It's your vote. You'll never see that $1 million. Why would a billionaire help you? See, all of this leads to the cuts, the federal cutting, the FAA cutting, all this. They want to privatize this shit. Elon Musk wants the FAA so bad. Do you trust Elon Musk in the FAA when every time his rockets go up in the air, they blow up? I want y'all to think about this shit. And he did not make Tesla. He did not make SpaceX. He just bought into them and then bought more into it using government subsidies to get his wealth. The United States government subsidies at that point. That's why he's so mad at South Africa. That's why he in Europe they're pretty much kicking his ass. He's lost half of his wealth. He was $400 billion net worth. I think it's 200 now. In a matter of 4 months. But he's bitching. Calling Tim Walz a jerk because he's holding Tesla stock in his hand while he's giving a speech. What a jerk. You're the jerk because you fire hundreds, if not thousands, of federal workers that were doing their damn job. And before I get out here, let me go to the black culture for something. Can y'all please, for the love of everything holy, stop fucking with Kanye West? And what I mean by stop fucking with him, don't mention this motherfucker's name. For those that don't know, I'm not sure if it's at studio or at DJ Academic's house. This dude decides he goes to go and do an interview or just talk. And he went into that studio house, whatever, and spoke to DJ Academics and is on video in an all black triple K suit. Yes, the KKK. He talked about Beyonce, Jay-Z. He talked about his ex-wife. I believe his current wife is going to file for divorce. Please stop giving this motherfucker some excuses. And what I mean the excuses of his mother's death. His mother has been gone for basically 18 years. Stop. Now, far be it from me to stop or tell someone how to grieve. But at a certain point, that excuse is lame as fuck. Kanye has always been a narcissist and a sociopath. Yes, even through The Wire. See, he's masked it as my confidence in my area. No. You're narcissistic. Because Pusha T tried to hold you down. Pusha T don't fuck with you no more. Now, we all know Kim, you know, I will say she's a serial marriage. She, how can I put it right? She loves to get married. But you decided to marry her after the Ray J tape. You decided that. You left Amber Rose for that. Can't blame you over. But you and Amber Rose kind of have similar thinking when it comes to political stuff. You went, see, and if Jay-Z and Beyonce sues the shit out you for slandering their children, I wouldn't blame them. If Jay-Z wanted to knuckle up with you as soon as he saw you, I wouldn't blame you because you need your ass whooped a long time ago. I want y'all to really see this is that pity party shit that happens, I will say, in our community. When one of our, whether it be male or female, fuck up, we tend to give the benefit of the doubt. We tend to try to, it's okay. Not this motherfucker. He's shitting on us way too many times. He's not what you think he is. He's never been what you thought he was. When a man can degrade his own community on a constant basis, got a problem. Have a big, big problem. He's done that for over a decade. He's bipolar. He has mental issues. I don't give a fuck. Take your medicine. But no. Stop giving him an excuse. A black Ku Klux Klan outfit. And he had on the robe, the hat, and the face covering. Just like them motherfuckers used to do. And still do, by the way. See, being an independent thinker and have independent thought are two different things. I'll let y'all figure that one out, what I just said. There's a difference between being an independent thinker and having independent thought. What he's doing is not independent thinking at all. Because he's getting his talking points from other avenues to degrade his community. To pretty much shit on people that, quote unquote, left him. If everybody leaves a person, is it really that person or is it them? Jay-Z pretty much stopped fucking with Kanye after they did that album together. I want y'all to think about that. Now, Jay's been known to, separate himself as he did with Dame Dash and Biggs, with Rockefeller, amongst others. But I will also say that's a smart thing because you outgrow shit. Hence why Jay-Z's a billionaire. Hence why he has his wife, Beyonce. But if you, and I'm speaking of Kanye, have problems with everybody, and everybody left you, the problem is you. It ain't everybody. People just got tired of your shit. So my black people, my people in the hip hop community, I implore you, stop fucking with this dude. Let him be where he's at. Let him be where he is. If he wants to go ahead and say some shit, go ahead and let him say some shit. Do not give this motherfucker a voice. He's irrelevant. This is why Adidas let him go. Remember, he also had to deal with Nike first. Everybody tends to forget this shit. Let this motherfucker go. I want the old Kanye. Old Kanye never was there. This is the real Kanye. Because when you give a person money and power, they will become more of what they already were. Think on that. Let me be out of here, man. Hopefully, after Sunday, I'll be doing a more positive podcast dealing with sports. Because I really want to cover the UFL. Hopefully. But I know 9 out of 10, Doodoo Don and his administration going to do something more that's going to be like, God damn, I got to talk about it. So I'm like I said, I've been trying to find the time to do 2 podcasts a week. It may happen. I'm going to have to force myself. But anyway, once again, I'd like to thank Rose Sweets LLC. That's Rose Sweets LLC, the best cupcakes and cake pops in the DMV area, small base business out of Southern Maryland. That is black and female owned. You can actually look them up at Rose_Sweets_LLC on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also hit them up, RoseSweetsLLC@gmail.com. They will be up and running once again because the owner, had a little baby. Beautiful boy, too. More than likely this spring or summer, but they will take orders, specialized orders. Also, I'd like to thank Riverside.fm for allowing me to grace his voice and his face via Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast from. You can actually look up Riverside.fm and they may be able to get something done for you so you can have your own podcast. Your boy got a website. That's www.heyyodSheldon.com. That's HeyYoDSheldon.com. That's H like Harry, E like Edward, Y like yellow, O like Oscar, D like David, S like Sam, H like Harry, E like Edward, L like Larry, T like Tom, O like Oscar, N like Nancy.com. And you can follow me on Hey Yo D Shelton on TikTok. Hey Yo _with_D Shelton on Instagram. You can also follow me on Hey Yo D Shelton .bsky.social. That's Blue Sky. I'm trying to get better with posting. I know. And just in case, Blue Sky and my website, definitely you're going to hear me. Just in case TikTok goes away. Because the deadline is supposed to be April 5th. I think TikTok is going to be here to stay. But we shall see. And as I always tell you, as I get out of here, especially in these times, may Father and the ancestors take care of you, your loved ones, or anybody else you care about. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.